nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to SA Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me is the Power 15, the king of the RPI, Rafa. How are you?
Good. Here in Del Rio, out west. Doing some
I heard there was a pretty good goal out there last couple of days. Is what the whispers tell me.
Yeah. Shout out to Memo and KWMC from AM 1490 here in Del Rio for having me on the commentary for Tuesday night's boys soccer game between Del Rio and Laredo United South, which was a great game. I mean, Jose Fernandez, he scored a bicycle kick goal. So I told Lethal, hey, here's your goal of the month right there. So that's no questions asked.
Might be goal of the week, or pardon me, goal of the year.
Oh yeah, goal of the year too. Yeah, and so it was a great game. You know, talking with Memo, we're catching up. You know, he was asking questions about about the podcast, but us, and also 50-50, and we got some great supporters here in Del Rio. So glad they do watch it. But it was a great game, and it was back and forth. They tied. They actually go to penalty kicks here. And United South ended up winning 6-5 in penalty kicks, so they were able to steal a couple points on the road. So I think that was Del Rio's first district loss of the season. I think this is a game number 2 for them. So they play. I think they play tomorrow. I think, but they're at United High School.
So kind of want to do two things here. We're going to go over the standings, and TAPPS had their alignment discussion for 2024-2026, which we kind of want to go over. We went over the UIL one a couple of weeks ago, but I missed it, and then I'm not sure if you actually saw it, but I was going through and doing my homework and found out that it came out, so I figured we'd go over that. We'll go over that. Some changes to it, some surprises that kind of caught me off guard, and I'll wager on you to kind of see, what your thoughts of it is. My experience with alignments is there's always going to be questionable where you're like, hey, what were they doing? And yet, you can also find some logic in why they did it, along those lines here. So it's a fun discussion point. And then, of course, next year we get to see the changes in play when it comes to that. So we'll start with the standings, do the TAPPS, kind of go over that because they got, about a week or two left, I think.
Some are doing those district tournaments too.
District tournaments. So. But those are kind of hard to track. I haven't found a site that's that freely gives the information out for that here. So that's something with TAPPS here that you wish they'd have better standardization when it comes to it. But so let's go to it here. So let me expand my screen here. So Region 2 girls, St. Agnes, classing it 9-0. St. Prius, Antonio in third at 7-2-1. In Carnarvon, 3-6. Well, both in Carnarvon. The San Antonio one, 3-6, a little bit better record than the Houston one. Really, it's just the top 3, right? Is really going to be kind of the discussion when it comes to the playoffs. You think?
Yeah, well, I think St. Agnes probably already has this pretty much put away. I think one more win pretty much seals the deal for them. It's going to come to, like I said, Antonio, if they can Antonio, if they can get into that second spot, it'll be a better seeding for them when it comes to the playoffs. And same thing with Incarnate Word. If they can maintain that fourth spot, kind of keep the other Incarnate Word from Houston away, uh, like I said, they can lock into that fourth spot.
Moving on to Region 2, Region 2, District 4. TMI 7-1. San Antonio Christians 8-0. Oh, I forgot to adjust this one here. So San Antonio Christians is 8-0. TMI 7-1. St. Mary's is third at 4-4. St. Anthony behind them's at 3-4. And Victoria St. Joseph, who had some stuff updated, so thank you. And then Laredo St. Augustine. It's a long year. But San Antonio Christians, TMI, in Region 2, trying to see if they've got any more matches against each other to see. Actually, yeah, February 15th, actually going on right now. TMI and San Antonio Christian probably for the title. If San Antonio Christian gets the win.
Yeah, they can get the win or even a tie. Pretty much, they clinch it. TMI has to win this one at least to get a share of the district title with them, and then we'll see what kind of seeding do they get.
San Antonio Christian faces the St. Mary's on the 20th, and then TMI. Actually, it's over. TMI's already updated it on theirs. They lost 2-0 to San Antonio Christian. So San Antonio Christian will be 9-0. TMI will be 8 or 7-2.
True. Okay.
And TMI doesn't have any more matches. And then so St. Anthony's got 2 matches. Victoria and then TMI. So there's still a few that they have had to reschedule. And for St. Mary's, they get Laredo and San Antonio Christian for that here. So, or at least that's what's on the schedules here. So, but San Antonio Christian's got it locked up as far as with the win tonight over TMI. It'll be interesting to see who gets that third or fourth slot for that here. Both will be on the road, but obviously you want to finish third as opposed to finish fourth because fourth plays the number 1 team from a different region generally. Moving to Region 3, D4, Geneva School of Bernie, 7-0 and cruising. JP2, it said 4-1. See if they've updated it since then. No, it's still 4-1. I know they've played more games than that, but I know they had the one loss to Geneva for that here. And I know February 22nd at 5:00 they play Geneva and JP2 for the district championship. It doesn't tell me where that's going to be played at, but those are the 2 big heavyweights there. Seeding really goes by the district tournament, right?
So they'll go whoever finishes like knocked off in that semifinal is probably your 3rd and 4th seeds. So whoever wins this district tournament is going to get that number 1 seed and the district title. So, but like I said, Geneva's been the team that kind of has been the surprise and consistent. So going into this game against Shirts, they got to be considered fair, especially if the game's at Geneva. So they'll have that advantage. But you can't count out Shirts. I mean, JP2, they like I said, look at their resume.
They're the champions the champions until beaten.
So they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight. They're not gonna just roll over. So, but that's gonna be a great game when they play against each other. And so we'll hopefully we'll get updated on that. And then I think I wouldn't be surprised if these 2 end up playing each other in the playoffs again.
Deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they have a chance to see each other again.
So moving over to the boys, Central Catholic cruising 15-2, 8-0. Houston St. Prius 6-3. Villages 5-4. St. Thomas, Antonian 3-5, and Tombo, Concordia Lutheran 0-8. Really, it's Central Catholic and everybody else, and Antonian just having an off year, compared to historically where they're at.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a rebuilding year for them, or maybe injuries. That's could be the case. I know I think they played Central Catholic over the weekend. I think they were leading them too, but I think Central Catholic was able to pull that one off, uh, and come back and win. Um, like I said, I think Central Catholic's focus on the prize at hand, which is getting back to that state final, which they lost. And I know Coach Rule, really has them playing at the top levels. And like I said, a lot of teams will not want to play them come this next few weeks. But like I said, we'll see if they can bring the hardware. And then who knows with Antonio? And yeah, they may have the losing record now, but if maybe you can get hot in the playoffs. You never know. You can knock off some teams, and it's not.
And they are in a tough division,
Yeah.
or tough district. Just to be fair,
Hmm.
Houston, St. Prius, the Village, St. Thomas's all have pretty good pedigrees when it comes
Yeah.
to playing boys soccer for that here. So moving to Region 2, District 4, your favorite Brownsville St. Joseph Academy, 8-1. San Antonio Christians 8-2. TMI 7-1. St. Mary's 5-4. So that's going to be your 4 playoff teams. Seating still the top 3 probably still needs to be settled. Victoria, St. Joseph, St. Augustine, and St. Anthony, the Yellow Jackets playing out the string. But for San Antonio Christians and TMI, I think it was San Antonio Christian, when I was going through here, that got the victory over.
Hmm.
Hold on, let me get back to it here. That got the victory over the St. Joe's Academy out of Brownsville.
And they actually play San Antonio Christian tomorrow at 6. So
Yeah, February 6th, San Antonio Christian beat Brownsville St. Joseph 5-0, according to the thing here. They play TMI or actually today, 6:30 TMI, and then St. Joseph on the 20th for that here.
So this thing's not over yet. It still can come down to these final few games, especially all 3 teams.
Yeah, so TMI actually controls their destiny. They play San Antonio Christian tonight,
Hmm.
and then on the 19th, which is what, Saturday?
Yes. No,
Uh,
that'd be a Tuesday.
no,
Monday.
19th is Monday.
Monday. Yeah.
Monday, they traveled 1:00 game at Brownsville St. Joseph. So if TMI can win both, that they would move into first place. So top 3 seeding, still a lot to play for. TMI controls its destiny,
Hmm.
which is where you want to be.
And San Antonio Christian, like I said, if they can knock off TMI tomorrow, then they have a shot at getting. Since they have that tiebreaker over St. Joseph's, all they need to do is get another win versus them, and they'll get the outright district title. So yeah, like I said, this is a fun district. Like I said, you got 3 quality teams, and that's kind of there could be favorites going into that playoffs, and then you also have St. Mary's Hall. Like I said, pretty much they've already clinched that 4th spot, so they're not
Yeah.
too worried about the other 3. So, but 3 contenders here, so we'll see how far each of them can go.
Region 3, Division 4. I remember when I was bad mouthing Church John Paul II early in the year. When it came to district, they've got it figured out. 9-0. Geneva School of Bernie 6-1, very solid. New Braunfels Christian Academy 6-3. JB2 out of Corpus 4-2. Kerrville Our Lady and the Atonement Academy and the Holy Cross Knights finishing up the season here. But for Region 3, Division 4, let's see here if there is any fun matches left.
I think they're also doing that district tournament, like the
District.
girls, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was coming down to JP2 and the Geneva boys.
Yeah, February 19th, district champion JP2. This one does say it's at JP, the district champion at Shirts. So if that's if it's number one seeds, then the Lady Geneva is what would be hosting the girls and then the boys. Or do you think that they would have it at the same place?
It'd be nice if they had it on a neutral site, have both games at the back to back. But I don't think you want to lose that home field advantage. So so they don't mind being separated from each other for those games. But like I said, this is going to be a barn burner of a game as well. Uh, and two teams are kind of up and rising. As far as they're getting hot at the right time to to the playoffs. So, but also keep an eye on New Braunfels Christian. I know they have 7-7, but they have a good 6-3 record in district play. So I wouldn't, you can see them as a dark horse too.
So, sticking with TAPPS here, as we discussed at the top, they had their alignment for it here, and they get a little poster that they generated here. I think it's page 30. Yes, I got it here. So, speaking for us here. So, just kind of going through here, looks like here there's 8 districts, I think.
Yeah, we have the fall and the winter soccer.
Oh, pardon me. 4 districts for Division 1, with an independent being the Cathedral out of El Paso. Kind of interesting for the San Antonio area in that Antonian and Central Catholic, which were in District 4 here, if you look at it here with Lutheran, uh, you know, St. Prius, St. Thomas villages. They actually get their own district, and they bring in 2 Austin schools, St. Dominic Savio and St. Michael's Catholic. And TMI gets promoted up to Division 2 here. And let me take my dog out here real quick here. If you want to talk on it.
Yeah, so there's some changes here in this, in this realignment for TAPPS, which really doesn't get this big luster. That's like the UIL, but still you get some interesting matchups. And like I said, you have San Antonio, like I said, Central Catholic, Antonian, linking up now with St. Dominic from Austin, St. Michael's from Austin, and then TMI making that jump from Division 2 to Division 1. So that's going to be a very tough district going into this season. So it's going to have some fun. Those are going to be some fun games. I know St. Michael's got a good program. St. Dominic, like I said, as well too. So going into this season, I'm sure they're happy not traveling too far of a distance like they have this past year. So being in District 3, like I said, and then District 4 is going to be pretty much your Houston area teams, and then the other 2 districts, your kind of your Dallas area teams. The Cathedral, so with the distance of them not having any private schools around, so they'll remain independent. And usually they get an automatic bid into the playoffs. So we're just waiting for here.
So, and then moving on down to,
but that district area with Central Catholic and and Antonian, that's going to be a tough one. I know St. Michael's has a good program, and I know St. Michael's and St. Dominic. I think they had a really travel, I think, for some of their district games. So I'm sure they're happy now It's close by. And TMI, like I said, now they're gonna have to play with the big boys now. And but I'm sure Central Catholic and Antonio are happy they don't have to make those weekend trips to Houston anymore. So save some money on the budget.
Well, a question on that though is because they were in a district with what
I think with the Dallas area team.
7, 8 teams, right? Well,
Hmm.
no. Well, I'm just talking about for Central Catholic and Antonian.
Yeah.
You're going to a district with 4 other teams, so home and away that's 8 matches. Do you foresee them playing more, UIL clubs or more tournaments to kind of make up that difference to balance out the schedule? Or
That's a possibility. Well, remember they start the season a lot earlier, so they'll play some district games right before they start playing some of the public school teams in late December. If like Central Catholic does go to like the the North Texas Elite Showcase, so they may have some extra you know time. They maybe schedule a couple more games, but that's also going to depend on them if injury wise, maybe, or when their district restarts again. You know, they may not want to pack on too many games. Prior to that second half of district play. But like I know with Central Cal, they've never shied away because I've seen them in the past. They've played some, like I said, they've played Reagan, they play Lee, and they play others. Adding them into their non-district schedule and then playing those elite tournaments in the North Texas area. So we may see, like I said, it'll be interesting to see that this coming year.
and it'd be interesting to see how they do the playoffs as well.
Hmm.
Because right now you got 9 teams. I'm assuming Blues on one side. Let's say the north side of it, you got 9 teams, and then you got 10 teams in the San Antonio,
And,
Central Texas, Houston
mhm.
area
and
for
Cathedral
that here.
automatically gets a playoff. So if you look at it, like I said, they have the 18s, and they may just have, like I said, I think they may do like they have. I think all the teams probably make the playoffs, and then you
All
have one
teams
that
make
has,
it.
and then one
Double
has
Y.
a bye or double bye. And it's kind of the same thing there in the bottom too. Like maybe your district champs end up getting a bye right before they end up playing against each other.
Yeah. So, well, I wonder if how you would even it out is have like the 2 bottom, 4 play 5 into
Hmm.
from 3 to 4 and vice versa here, and then up here have the two fourth place teams play some Cathedral, along those lines, so you'd have these two, let's say just Tristan Academy and Prestonwood
Yeah.
play. Winner gets to face Cathedral in that eight team bracket on the side, and then down here you would have you know you know through here, so that way the top 3 get that bye in that first round, or you could say kind of a play-in match
Yeah.
where you'd have St. Michael's Catholic playing the Village and TMI playing St. Thomas, just in this scenario here, to be able to make it to that eight team bracket, for the red side here. So it'll be interesting to see how they
Hmm.
draw that up here. And then on to Division 2. So a couple of things that stick out to me here. You got San Antonio Christian, St. Anthony. You got the Laredo, St. Joe, Brownsville, St. Joseph, St. Mary. So this is pretty much the uh, same
District.
Division 2
Hmm.
districts. Well, it's now
District 3.
District 3 because they eliminated District 3 by the 3
Hmm.
schools that went up, and then the remaining schools that were in District 3 got moved to District 2, with Dallas schools, Garland, Tyler, and Bullard, which are more East Texas, for that here, and then of course the Houston schools stayed where they're at. Houston schools have 2 separate districts here. So Your thoughts on here? So for District 3, not a lot changed outside of the promotion for that here, but how they divided the old District 3 with the Regent School and Hyde Park, moving them up to North Texas.
Yeah, they could have maybe done something different instead of having the 5 districts, maybe just the 4 districts. Move, you know, maybe move over. I know the big thing is the Bronzo and the Laredo schools, and that kind of throws everything off. And like I said, we were kind of earlier talking about, going to Tyler to Austin is like a 4-hour drive, and it was a lot closer drive for them to be maybe, for them to be at I think District 5, which I think Tyler to Beaumont was only like a two
Right,
hour drive or like a three
right.
hour. It was less miles, so they could have done that. But like I said, I think maybe, to kind of balance some things out, because if you look at the other ones, I mean, it makes sense that your Dallas schools like Cristo Del Rey be in the same districts with like the Fort Worth schools of art, like I said, Bishop Dunn and Garland and Prep. They should really be in that District 1. But that's going to be lots of traveling, so a lot of fundraising for the booster clubs there.
It's just crazy
Yeah.
on how that shut down. And then Division 3, there is 8 divisions. They So District 5 and District 6 are San Antonio Hill Country area schools. How they kind of put these schools together is a little bit confusing. You got Geneva, Holy Cross, and Carnarvon, which is Corpus, JP2, which is Corpus, and then the Christian school at Castle Hills, San Antonio. Over on District 6, you got JP2, New Braunfels, Christian, Our Lady of the Hills, Kerrville, San Marcos, and the Atonement Academy. I think just for balance wise is why they split Geneva and JP2 up.
No.
To me, that's the only thing that can make sense. How they split the other schools, obviously you're going to keep the 2 Corpus schools together, because that just makes sense. And obviously San Marcos and New Braunfels, I think you kind of keep together for there. But how you have the Our Lady of the Hills, Kerrville, the Atonement, and then on the other side, Holy Cross and the Christian school at Castle Hills.
Hmm.
To me, like I said here, Kerrville and Bernie, to me, are more natural rivals, just because they are hill country schools. And for them to be in different districts, I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think the Atonement should have been in District 5 and Geneva in District 6. I think that would have been a better, because they kind of, if you look at, with Shirts and New Braunfels, Kerrville, San Marcos, and if you add Bernie, it has that kind of the same feeling like District 27 5A,
Mhm.
where you have Piper, Swenson Valley, New Braunfels come out, that section, that area.
The hill country.
Yeah, basically, yeah, your hill country. That should have been the district, but I guess TAPPS thought otherwise. Um, it's kind of, so now you
But
won't see Geneva and GP playing like I said, district play. But I'm sure they'll play each other in non-district games. But like I
or
said,
the
it's
playoffs.
or well, yeah, depending on the playoffs as the seeding. So I'm sure they'll meet. They'll meet in the playoffs.
Well, I think to me the reason why you had to split them up is, let's, especially if you move the Atonement over, District 5 is very weak. I'll just say there's a lot of growth that would need to have happen there, because New Braunfels Christian Academy's a solid program. JP2 Geneva obviously very good. I think Carnarvon is what's solid as well, but none of the other schools are heavyweights when it comes to
Mhm.
boys soccer. at this time. Now, could that change? Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But I think that's why they split it up, is because you would have one district that's just loaded comparatively to the other district. So moving to the ladies for that here. You got, let me
grab that Division 1. There we go.
Yeah, Division 1. You got Antonian and Carnawood, St. Dominic's, St. Michael's, and TMI, because you lose Central Catholic. To me, TMI going up is really the only big change, right?
Yeah. Well, remember,
Antonian moved, and Antonian moved over.
And then Carnawood over from the Houston schools, yeah. So with that TMI moving up, it's a opportunity for them to kind of stay close. Like I said, the only road trip they're gonna have is just going to Austin. I'm sure they're happy not going to Houston every other weekend, like what they've been doing this last couple years. And that's gonna be a test for TMI. Moving up from division, like I said, from Division 2 to Division 1, and this. But it's going to be a very competitive district, with St. Michael's, TMI, Antonian. That's going to be a fun one to watch. And then, like I said, then they'll face those Houston schools, in the playoffs. But the ones that get really the attention is that District 3 with Ursuline Academy, who's been
District
tearing
2
it up.
up here.
Yeah, they've been the class of Division 1 TAPPS soccer for the ladies. But like I said, you have other Greek programs too, like Bishop Lynch too as well, and Nolan Catholic.
So Nolan Catholic over in District 1. District 2 has Bishop Lynch and Ursuline. And then, so Antonian really would be the strong program right now. Well, I think if memory serves me right, St. Dominic's or St. Michael's is pretty solid. But these schools that just moved up, right?
I think they were playing in the Dallas series, I believe.
Dallas series.
I think so. I have to double check on that. They used to play. I remember when we were speaking with Coach Chano. They used to play with some of the San Antonio teams early on before this past realignment.
No, they're moving.
Are they moving up?
They're moving up. Yeah. So these were part of District 3 through there. So yeah, St. Dominic's and St. Michael's are moving up.
They may have
Division 2.
They may have dropped down from 1 to 2, and now they're making their way back up. I think that I remember, because there were some other teams I remember that did drop.
Well, no, I remember Coach Cano's teams used to play them before the last re-enrollment at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And then sliding over to the other side here, Division 2. So the two Austin schools, even for the ladies, went up to Northeast that we're talking about through there. Same makeup here. San Antonio Christian, St. Anthony, St. Augustine, Brownsville, St. Joseph, and St. Mary's.
Yeah, that pretty much is going to be the San Antonio Christian Open there. They're going to be the clear favorites for District 3. And then probably, I guess the runner-up will probably come down to St. Mary's Hall or St. Anthony's.
Trying to see is there a new school that's added? St. Augustine, Laredo, St. Joe. Oh, St. Joseph Academy Brownsville is a new addition to this district.
So they may be adding a girls program. It might be their first year.
So, but for in kind of looking at San Antonio schools here, Antonian would have to be the class kind of District 3 for Division One in their district,
Mhm.
and then San Antonio Christian, until the other schools get a little bit more history and a little bit under them for their here. And then interesting for D3, not a lot of changes. District 4 kept Bernie, Holy Cross, Incarnate Corpus, JP2, New Braunfels, San Marcos, JP2, and the Atonement Academy, all in one. So it's kind of interesting that they didn't actually
Split them like they did with the
split,
boys.
correct, because basically they added.
Kind of remain almost the same.
They added a school. Incarnate Word.
It might be the St. Paul St. Joel JP2 from Corpus.
No, they were in there.
Oh,
I
so
think
they're in there. Okay.
it's Incarnate
Carnivore
Word
Academy from Corpus.
Corpus. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a new team.
So that's the new team. But I'm kind of surprised they didn't break it up. Have four and because we've seen in districts
Mhm.
before that they'll do like here District 5, 4. I guess unless you're because I guess if you do it this way, because there's 5 districts.
Mhm.
So to me, because you got what, and then you could have had this. Austin School in Waco, I guess, isn't that bad. But you could have had 4 there, and then you got the schools
Your
up in the
Dallas
Dallas
Rios,
area.
yeah.
But you
There's a
got three on that side, and so I'm wondering how they're going to do it. I'm wondering if maybe because obviously if you've got 3, then you're going to allow because like right now they only allow 4 in, right?
yeah.
I think is
So,
how we
so
have it.
they may allow five possibility or 6.
Possibly 6, yeah. So just interesting because the blue and the red is a clear divide
Mhm.
on how they're going to separate the brackets, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
for that here. So, but overall thoughts, like I said, it's a good discussion piece for it here. Obviously, new rivals will generate from this here. For 2 years. You lose a little bit. Geneva School of Bernie and JP2 playing
For
in
the
a
boys
district
side.
play. Yeah.
The boys side.
Well, yeah, on the boys. So it's interesting to see the growth of some schools. It'll I guess my final thing is as we kind of finish up on this before we get back to the standings here. How big is it to be able to go from D2 to D1 along those lines? Because usually that's what the growth of attendance in the school is why you're moving up. But is at the TAPPS level, do you think that there's a big adjustment when it comes to level of play between D2 and D3, or pardon me, D2, D1, D2, D1, D2, and D3?
I think so. I think a lot also has to do the depth that you have on your team. You know, I think that's a big thing. I think once you get to your Division 1 schools, you'll have a full roster. Others are. When you get to 2 and 3, it's going to depend on how many players do go out for the team and so forth. And you know, but we're noticing, like I said, a lot more of these private schools are kind of growing a bit, and you saw some of these that made that jump, like TMI. So see TMI starting to see a jump in enrollment. So we'll see. Maybe out of that they do get some players, like I said, more depth added. That way and I'm sure they'll be able to compete in Division 1. But it's gonna, like I said, it's some matchups going to next year or this coming later in the winter season.
So moving to UIL here, and we're kind of meat of the season right now, middle of district play.
Halfway for some. Yep.
So looking at starting out like we always do, region of 4A. Gotta get my mind switched from TAPPS here. So 4A District 26. Boys, Bernie 3-0, Davenport 2-1, Wimberley 2-1, Fredericksburg 1-2, Bandera and Canyon Lake 0 and 10-2, and then 0-2. Before we get into kind of talking about it here, to me, Bernie plays Canyon Lake and Wimberley, Davenport, Fredericksburg at Canyon Lake, Wimberley, Bandera, Bernie, Fredericksburg, Davenport, Bandera, along those lines here. So just kind of looking at this upcoming week and where we're at here. Your thoughts on 26 boys? Obviously, Bernie's off to a solid start, as well as Wimberley and Davenport.
I know that was a close game against Davenport, but like I said, Coach Strong has them going there, and Bernie clear favorite again. So I know there's just early in the district play, but I think what you're seeing right now is probably going to end up, your four. Those are you're going to be your four teams in the playoffs. So I'm a little surprised with Canyon Lake. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of expect a little bit more, but it could be a rebuilding year for them. And um, Bandera, they can kind of get a couple wins. They can catch up to Fredericksburg. It just takes one or two, and they can sneak in and get that fourth spot. But like I said, I think from what we discussed when we had the picks, for the playoffs, those are probably going to be your four.
Yeah, so that match on the 20th here, Bandera and Fredericksburg, could be
Mhm.
pretty big when it comes to deciding who gets that fourth slot for that here. So moving to the ladies on 26. Davenport 3-0, Bernie with its first loss 2-1, Canyon Lake 2-1, Wimberley 2-1, and then Bandera and Fredericksburg. Not doing well so far in a heavy district. So looking at it here, uh, you know, what the one that stood out to me was Canyon Lake. No, Canyon Lake. Yeah, Canyon Lake on the ladies. Yeah, so they play both Bernie and Davenport this week, both on the road when it comes to that. So tough week for the Lady Hawks.
Yeah, and they had a tough loss against Wimberley. They got brought down to little reality. Um, I think Wimberley kind of made a statement on that game, and uh, it, it's a I think so. I know Davenport made a statement too. They went on the road. They got to win at Bernie. So I'm sure the confidence level is up for them. But like I said, they still got to play again. They're going to play again. We'll see. Maybe Bernie, yeah, Bernie returns the favor and gets the win at Davenport. But we kind of knew this district was going to be
A slugfest.
like a slugfest. This is the toughest. I believe this is the toughest district for 4A girls. And you got three teams that can flat out play, especially like this with Bernie and Davenport. Like I said, the next one when they face again, that's going to be a slugfest there. But you can't take Wimberley lightly. Like I said, they made a statement against it, against Canyon Lake. So, uh, but like I said, it just takes, like I said, stealing points on the road could be a factor in this, and who ends up winning the district title, or if they get tied or so forth. So it's like I said, I could see this coming down to the last couple games.
So moving on to 27, District 27, Lavernia 4-0, Yoakum 3-0-1, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Kennedy 2-1-1, SA Young Women's 1-1-1, Memorial 1-4, Gonzalez 0-2-1, and SA Fox Tech 0-3. And just kind of a little friendly water. I know we do this once or twice an episode. The information I get from Max Preps and mysanantonio.com. So what's reported is what I put on there. Sometimes it's a best efforts because I forget which match. One site had Team A win, the other site Team B was winning, or Team B won. So like I said, if the records are off by a game or two, but I think it's just a kind of a little bit of just a FYI for that, especially for districts like this that the reporting isn't the best when it comes to scores and standings for that here. So looking at matches, Kennedy, Lavernia, he gets travels to Yoakum on the 20th, 21st. For that here, Kennedy gets Lavernia and Young Women's. And then, Fox Tech has the Yoakum for that here. But to me, that Lavernia Yoakum match for Yoakum would be one kind of a prove it match, right? For you?
Yeah, it's the game that I'm sure the circles have that circled down, and I know they can't look past Fox Tech, but that's the game that they can make them some noise with. They say that, hey, we're going to contend this year, but Lavernia girls, they played a really good non-district schedule, a tough one, and that's what they did. They did that to prepare for this. So it's gonna be a great. Like I said, that's gonna be a great matchup. I'll still favor Lavernia on that game, and then like I said, li- I think the last playoff spot is gonna come down to probably like I said, we mentioned about young women's leadership, Kennedy Memorial. Like I said, we're still within striking distance, so it's not over yet. So if they can get some points, I think anybody can be beaten in this district. So like I said, it's gonna be a fun one, but still, I think Lavernia is gonna end up pulling this one off.
So moving on to the boys' side of 27, Lavernia, 14 3-1 overall, 3-0 in district. Kennedy 8-8, 2-3-1 in district. Memorial 2-2. Fox Tech and Gonzales 1-2-1. So that 4 slots wide open. And Yoakum is right now winless on the year. Lavernia, Kennedy, Yoakum. That Kennedy Lavernia match. For Gonzales, they're here. I did find Fox Tech playing Lowling as a non-district match
Hmm.
on the 20th, 21st. Because there's a couple of mixed for that here. Thought that was kind of interesting on how they did that here. But your thoughts on 27 boys?
Yeah, we kind of expected Lavernia to, I know what happened last year with them, losing out to Memorial, but I think I expected them to really, to do well, and they started well. Like I said, they got already 14 wins uh, for the season, and they got a big one with Kennedy. Kennedy's only a game behind. If Kennedy can win, they'll take over the top spot of the district play. And Memorial's still in within striking distance. They're gonna need some help, but like I said, I think we kind of knew those were the three teams that were gonna kind of fight it up for the top spot. Fox Tech, they get started out well. They're kind of struggle a little bit, but can they fend off Gonzalez? And I thought Gonzalez would probably be a little more competitive too. So I think it's going to end up coming for that. Final spot will be between those two. So interesting, they're playing Luling, a non-district game during in the middle of their district play. But like I said, maybe that helps. Sometimes a game like that, a win run gets you back on track, and or also give some player, some of your younger players some time to kind of develop a little bit more, and because you're going to need them later in that crunch time when it comes to the second half of the district play.
And that could be a misinformation on Max Preps
Hmm.
for that here, but it was listed on the schedule, so I did put it with it. So I did find that was pretty interesting. Lulling is a team that isn't doing very well in the season as well. So if it is one to kind of just get some experience, get some more confidence in the boys as you
Hmm.
finish on district, I could definitely see that paying off
Yeah, that's.
for
I
that.
think they're playing like a like an independent schedule because I think eventually they're gonna end up playing. I mean, they're a 2A school. They're gonna end up
Oh, okay.
playing 4A soccer. I think next year officially. So, and I think there's other teams too as well that I've noticed around those areas that they're playing independent schedules because they're just building they couldn't get in, I guess, in time to play district play, into district. So now that's why we're waiting for that 4A realignment to be officially set. Hopefully around in the next few weeks, so we'll have an idea where those teams are going to be at.
So moving to 28 for 4A, Floresville 4-0, Somerset 4-1, Pleasanton 4-2, Uvalde 2-2, Hondo 1-3, Poteet 1-4, and Pearsall 0-4 for that here. But Poteet got their first win over Pearsall. So that's good for the Aggie program. But you mentioned you've been on the Floresville bandwagon and Somerset, to be fair,
Hmm.
for that here. So both of those two have done well. And I think you've also been a little bit high on Pleasanton as well,
Hmm.
in the non-district. So my Hondo Owl's not looking so good.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you remember, you saw Somerset. They were at 1-8, and they took some lumps, but I guess those lumps really have helped them out. And look, they're at 4-1. They didn't look good in the beginning. Now they're contending there, and they got to, like I said, they're off this week, but like I said, they got a winnable game next week. Floresville, tough one at Hondo. They can't take them lightly, and then they're gonna have another tough one at home versus Uvalde. So, and then Uvalde, like I said, should have no problem against Pearsall, but like I said, looking down against Floresville, that's going to be a key game there too coming up. Uh, so it's still, like I said, so some 4 or 5 teams are still in the mix as far as going to that district title, and then also those playoff spots.
So, but yeah, to me, for it's you got to figure Pleasanton, Somerset, Floresville is pretty solid
Mhm.
for the playoffs at this point, and I think Uvalde would have to be the favorite as well to just with their pedigree for that here to go through. Although that it'll be interesting if one of these two teams could snack a draw against Floresville to kind of help pump them up to still a point for that here. Moving to 28 on the ladies' side here. Pleasanton 3-0-2. The Lady Lobos at 3-0-1 in district. Floresville 3-0-1. Hondo 1-2-1. Somerset 1-3-1. Poteet 1-3, and Pearsall 0-4. Um, Pleasanton plays Poteet. Uvalde has Pearsall and Floresville. Floresville plays at Hondo and at Uvalde. And then Hondo gets Floresville Poteet. But your thoughts on the ladies here? I think clear top three with Pleasanton, Uvalde,
Mhm.
and Floresville, and then it's a scrum for that fourth slot.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think Honda will get that 4th spot. I think they've been playing well. But yeah, Floresville's got a tough one coming up. Now they can't take Hondo lightly. Like I said, it's because like I said, they're in play. Hondo's just definitely want to steal some points to save playoff contention. But big game coming up for Floresville when they travel to Uvalde. That's going to have some district title implications in there. Coming up. So, and that could be a big factor towards the end of the district play.
So moving to 5A, districts 26, 27, and 28. So the heavyweights. Bernie Champion 6-1 in district. Smithson Valley 5-1-1. Canyon Cougarettes 5-1-1. Piper 5-2. And my Kerrville Tivy fell off the map. 2-4. And then you got veterans Seguin and Wagner. That's trying, but unfortunately hasn't made it through the gauntlet as of yet here. But looking here, Bernie Champion plays Wagner and Veterans Memorial this week. Smithson Valley plays Kerrville Tivy Seguin. Canyon plays Vets Memorial and Kerrville. Piper, Seguin, and Wagner. And Kerrville Tivy, I hate to say it, it's make or break it week already at Smithson Valley at Canyon, and then home against Canyon. Veterans Memorial, gets through there. But to me, this is if Kerrville Tivy is going to make the playoffs or even contend for the playoffs, this is the week they got to get some wins.
Yeah. This, like I said, this is a fun district. I mean, we have our favorites and who we think but some teams, like I said, we're noticing some teams are stealing points at those away games, and those can come back to haunt you. If you give up points at your home stadium, and this is going to come down probably to the last couple games. When you got 3 teams. Like I said, Simpson Valley Canyon half a game behind champion.
Well, even
And
Piper's one game back in
one
fourth.
back, yeah. So It's gonna come, like I said, it's gonna come down to who can steal whose points at the other places, away, and and then also the playoff scene is gonna make a big difference too, because like I said, that 25 5A is also. I mean, Leander's been tearing it up, and you don't want to be that 4 seed, but well, look at last year, the 4 seed did knock off the number 1 seed, so maybe the other way around, maybe 25-5 is like, oh, I don't think we want to face any of these guys. I mean, kind of kind of pick your poison because any of those 4 teams can be your district champ, and
But
it's and they
in
could
a
end up
way,
playing.
it's good though because you're getting
Yeah.
playoff tested, and nothing against Veterans Memorial or Seguin or Wagner, but they're not playing at the same level
No.
as the top four. And Kerrville Tivey's probably, well, I think it's showing they're a step behind. Which historically they've been a great, they have the backing, but to me, those top four, if you're,
Mhm.
that is a playoff match when you're facing each other in district at this point.
I mean, out of Region 4 for 5A here, these four, these are four possible contenders that can literally go. Well, you had Spencer Valley go to state last year, but these four could literally go to. One of them can go to end up going to state. And then that's just how the beauty of this district is. So it's like you're gonna have some high intense games, and these who can outwit the other as far as in the matchup. So it's going to be interesting in when the second round starts, because you saw some of the games that pretty much winnable games for the top four. Uh, but once the second round starts, that's when it's who's going to be the team that's going to take it up to the next level. That's going to be the aggressor and get a hold and take hold of the district race.
To me, this district is decided by who can avoid a draw or a loss to Kerrville Tivy.
Or any of the other teams below too.
Right, but
Yeah.
realistic,
Mhm.
I think the one that we, and I don't mean to disrespect the other three schools, but Kerrville Tivy is the one that I think that you could see an upset if one of the top four had an off night.
Yeah.
For that here, because I just think the depth that you talked about it with the TAPPS schools, it's the depth that those four schools bring compared to Wagner, Seguin, and Veterans Memorial.
Mhm.
They're getting better, but they don't quite have that depth and that pedigree as of yet,
Yeah.
top to bottom on the roster. So moving to 26 boys, Piper 13-3, 7-0, running away. Kerrville Tivy 11-5-1, 4-2-1. Canyon 4-3. Bernie Champion 3-2-2. Right now, Smithson Valley's on the outside 3-2-2. Veterans Memorial 3-3-1, kind of the surprise. And then Wagner and Seguin, 1-6, 0-7. And then this week you got Piper play Seguin and Wagner. Kerrville Tivy, Smithson Valley, Canyon. So two great matchups there. Canyon has Veterans Memorial, Kerrville Tivy. Veterans Memorial is kind of that sneaky team this year. Wagner and Veterans Memorial for Bernie Champion. Smithson Valley gets Kerrville Tivy, or at Kerrville Tivy, and then Seguin. And then Veteran Memorial has Canyon and Bernie Champion. So Veterans Memorial's had a couple of solid wins. Any surprises? I don't think any of us had Kerrville Tivy that
Yeah.
high up at the beginning.
They're I mean, they're getting it together, and kudos to them. I think like I said, the big games is this weekend. Can they beat Bernie Champion at home? And if they can beat Bernie Champion, and Spencer Valley, yeah, Kerrville Tivy at West was excuse me, I got it all wrong. Yeah, Spencer Valley, sorry brother. Yeah,
Home against Smithson Valley
yeah,
tomorrow, and then at Canyon next Tuesday the 20th.
yeah. So yeah, Kerrville Tivy with Spencer Valley. Sorry, I got those mixed up. But yeah, Kerrville Tivy and Spencer Valley played tomorrow. That's a big one for them. If they can win that, if Kerrville Tivy wins that game, that pretty much, I think that'll help them pretty much get the as far as get a foot
Top four.
into that top four as far as a foot in the door in the playoffs because that'll be a big win for them. And if you look at Spencer Valley, they have to win that game, or at least steal. I don't know if a tie will help them. May as stealing points away from on the road, but if you see them, they're having the two losses. I think they desperately need to win that game to get back into because if they can win that game, they'll be pretty much back into the top two, top three. But Piper pretty much, I think that they're going to run away with this. Still can't take the other teams lightly because, like I said, they're going to still gun for you. But I think Piper's pretty much going to win the district title. But
Canyon's kind of in a tricky spot too, though,
yeah,
because they have 4 wins, but they've already got 3 losses.
Yeah.
So right now they're ahead because they got that
points,
additional win over Burning Champion and Smithson Valley. Mm-hmm. But if they draw and the other teams, Burning Champion, Smithson Valley win, that's why this week for Kerrville Tivy, it's more important for the ladies to stay in the playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
But for on the boys' side, if they could get points from both matches, that sets them up pretty well to where I know Smithson Valley's on the outside right now, but you've really got these 2 through 5. That's what, a half a game, game, I guess, kind of
a game or two,
half a game between making the playoffs as a second seed and being out of the playoffs altogether. And let's not sleep on Veterans Memorial because they've had a couple of solid showings. Now I don't know if they have the depth to continue to compete to make the playoffs, but I forget who'd they beat.
Yeah, they had it recently. They had
beat
a big
somebody
win.
pretty good. 26, 5A.
Yeah, recently
was it Smithson Valley? 3-1. Yeah, they beat Smithson Valley 2-0. Yeah, so that was their win as they beat, and we kind of talked about that as time as a wake-up call to Smithson Valley. But yeah, they beat Seguin 5-2, Wagner 3-1. They lost to Kerrville Tivy in their last match 4-1.
They did tie Burning Champion 1-1.
Yeah, and drew Burning Champion. Yeah.
So they can't, and like I said, they're within striking distance. So a win for them could get them back into the top 4. So it's going to come down to for Kerrville, if they can beat Simpson Valley tomorrow, I think that'll keep them, pretty much get a foot already kind of into the door of the playoffs. It just helps them a little bit more, but that'll be a big setback for Simpson Valley.
What if they split though? What if they split? Let's say if they win one, lose one, whether it's against Canyon or Smithson Valley, they just need to get one win this week, right?
Yeah,
out of this gauntlet.
Yeah, they need to kind of separate themselves, or get a win, get a tie. If they can do that, you come out with 4 points, it's going to be helpful. And as long as you come out with positive, not with a 2 losses would be devastating for them because that would really knock them down from a 2 to the 6. Yeah. So if they split, or for me, my scenario is win both games. If you can win both games, great.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much with that to get you already at being at 6-2 would be you'll be in really good shape. But if you split, you go 1-0-1, win-win a tie. That'd be great. Especially like I said, you don't want to lose points at home. So, and I think it's a winnable game for them. But it's going to be very, like I said, Simpson Valley's not going to roll over. Like I said, that's probably one of the big games tomorrow.
Piper running away with it though, or you think that they come
back? Yeah, I've seen them play, and like I said, very, very great team. They're a great team. I think they've got everything. They got the pieces and so forth. Not everybody's kind of has an eye. I know other 5A teams in our area kind of get the more of the recognition and so forth. But I'd be careful with the Piper boys. I think they're starting to click at the right time, and they've beaten some really good teams, especially on the non-district side.
So moving to 27, boys. Alamo Heights and MacArthur. Who had them 7-1?
Hmm.
Lanier at 6-2, Jefferson at 5-3, Edison at 5-3. I think those are your playoff contenders. Then you got Burbank, Brackenridge, Sam Houston, and Highlands. Unfortunately, having a rough year. Just real rough year. But MacArthur Brahmas, both on the boys and the girls side. We'll talk about the girls here in a couple minutes. But what can you say about the MacArthur High School team? I think they beat
They
Alamo
beat
Heights.
Alamo Heights 3-1. Yep. So that was that Friday night. Excuse me. Yeah, that Friday night they're at Blossom East. So right after the girls game, you could say the boys played, and big win for the MacArthur boys. Like I said, the Mules hadn't lost a game yet as far as district play yet, and they're able to get a win. And also we want to congratulate Coach Simmons on his 100th win
Mhm.
too for MacArthur. So congratulations to him. Um, so like I said, they've made it interesting. Remember last year, it kind of happened with Alamo Heights too when Edison knocked them off.
Yes.
Um, so now MacArthur's kind of in the driver's seat here. I mean, Alamo Heights should take care of business with Sam Houston. They cannot sleep on Edison, even though Edison's kind of struggling a little bit. That could be a trap game there for them, and they're gonna have to go out there and take care of some business. Jeff, starting to kind of getting things together. They got a tough one with Lanier coming up. Um, like I said, that those last three playoff spots going to be coming down to Jeff, Edison, and Lanier.
So and then Lanier gets Jefferson. So that's
Mhm.
their only match this week here. So for Lanier. To be able to get that win would help solidify them, maybe give them a little bit more breathing room when it comes to that. Moving to the ladies, MacArthur lost, but they won. I think for everybody that watched that game and the feedback on social media, uh, remember all reports, and I believe you and
Mhm.
Steve were there. The Alamo Heights and MacArthur Brahmas game was one for that when they rematch again, you want to go see it because it was a back and forth. It was what 6-4, right? I think was the final, or I know it was.
Yeah, it was like a tale of two halves.
What was the score? Yeah, 6-4.
6-4. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Alamo Heights got out to a big lead. MacArthur came back and made Alamo Heights to work, to be able to finish that game off. But Alamo Heights stays undefeated, 8-0. MacArthur 7-1. Edison 5-2. Jeff 5-3, and then Burbank, and then Highlands, Sam Houston, Brackett 2-6, and Lanier at 1-7. But I think the top three are pretty solid for the playoffs.
I
Jefferson,
think the top four. I believe.
you think
I think
top
those.
four?
Yeah. And like I said, Alamo Heights should have no problem this coming week, and MacArthur, I know they're off this weekend, and then they got one at home game
Right.
next week. Um, Jeff, good Jeff, like I said, should take care of business. And then Edison, like I said, they got the tough one the next week at Alamo Heights. So,
Yeah.
um, but that game, like I said, me and Steve, so I want to thank Steve for joining me there for the commentary on that game. It was a tale of two halves, and I can tell you this: the Alamo Heights girls, great team, awesome team, can touch the ball well, very aggressive on the attack. They have some great forwards. Um, they really kind of press you a lot. They don't let up, and what surprised me in the second half, they kind of let up a little bit, but kudos to the coach Cano. He made some great adjustments, and normally when you're down 5-1, your team is probably much with their head down and really kind of go with the emotions. It just shows a difference maker he has been with the ladies there for MacArthur. They played their hearts on second half, and they won the second half. They outplayed Alamo Heights in there. They were a little bit more aggressive. They made some great adjustments, and it made it real interesting because there was about a few minutes that had they poked in that fifth goal, who knows what could have happened there because it got a little interesting there. But it was a fun game. Like I said, you got two great teams there. Um, and I honestly think, I know, like mentioned, like 26, 5A, for the girls get it's a lot of the tension with the four teams, but you know, Alamo Heights, like I said, they're going to be a contender too. And if I'm Bernie Champion, I'm Piper, I'm Canyon or Cincinnati Valley. Keep an eye on Alamo Heights because they can do some damage, and they got some, like I said, they got some great players, great midfielder. Number 10, she was really kind of driving the ball, kind of managing. She kind of ran a little bit like Luka Modric, just kind of taking the ball, distributing and so forth. And so like I said, they're gonna. Like I said, don't sleep on the ladies from Alamo Heights as far as contention for Region Four. Like I said, I think they have the talent to go far, and I think they can beat some. They can work it against just 26-5A.
The return match with MacArthur and Alamo Heights, March 11th at 11 a.m. So, interesting time on the game. I wonder if that's a
Spring break.
or spring break.
Yeah.
For that here, but interesting. That should be an interesting match going on there. 28 girls, Southwest 5-0 in district. Medina Valley 4-1. Harlandale Southside or Harlandale 3-3. Southside McCollum Southwest Legacy 2-2-1. South San 0-3-1 and Eagle Pass CC win
Mhm.
0-4. Matchups this week. Southwest. Oh, I have that wrong here. Playing Southwest. They don't. Who's the team that they play? I put that wrong. I didn't catch that. But Harlandale, Southside. Oh, so they got to be playing Southside because I have them two playing each other. For that year. I actually have Southside. Actually, I messed this one all up. So I'll have to figure out who readjust that here.
Oh, no worries.
But sorry about that. But so this one's kind of hard to go over who plays who. Let me see if I can pull it up on my side. But your thoughts on the Southwest Invitational here on the girls' side?
Yeah, I thought maybe Medina Valley would kind of challenge them a bit, but they didn't. Like I said, Southwest got a big win on them. But I think Medina Valley should make the playoffs. But you notice from 3 to 6, one game is just separating each of them, and it's going to come down to who can knock off who at third place, and uh, it's like I said, it's going to come down to the very end, and we'll see how that goes. But like I said, you have some great teams like Harlandale, Southside's having a great season. The Lady Cardinals are having a great season. Don't count out the Lady Cowgirls from McCollum. They got a good team, and also congratulations to their own player, Alita Oresti. She just scored her 50th goal too a couple days ago, so congratulations to her. And like I said, Southwest Legacy too as well. It's that's good. Like I said, those last two spots are going to be a dogfight from those four teams, and it's going to be fun. We'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, I have no idea what I was doing on this schedule here. I wonder if I messed that up with the boys too. I know what I did. I copied the boys and didn't adjust it for the girls. I know that's what I did. Figured it out. So Harlandale, 5-0, 15-3. Southwest 5-0. Southwest Legacy 3-1-1. Medina Valley 2-2-1. Off to that great start. and then came crashing down in district. Southside 2-3, CC Win 2-3, McCollum and Matt. Southside needs you to suit up, buddy. I'm telling you, any eligibility, you gotta help them out. For that here. So maybe shave the mustache. Look a little bit younger. But they could use your help, my friend. But Harlan-Tell plays Southwest here because this is what I did wrong here. I copied this here. So, of course, this will be reversed for the ladies, or actually, I think it matches for the ladies here. Southwest plays Harlandale and then Southwest Legacy. Harlandale, that's 1 and 2. I think what's 1 and 2, or is it 1 and 3?
Mhm.
One and two right now. 5-0 teams. We saw this last year.
Yeah, and remember last year Harlandale had all those wins, and I was like, hey, this is going to be a great matchup. And Southwest did the Mike they did the Mike Tyson on them, and showed them, huh, now you're not ready. You're not ready to contend. And now this year might be a little bit different. Like I said, Southwest, they lose some key players, but like I said, Southwest should still be the favorite for this game. But if Harlandale, if they want to make a statement, they have to. They got a big win against Medina Valley. Got to give them that. Medina Valley was playing well. Like I said, they've already got 2 losses. They got a tough loss against, a close one against Southwest, but then they had like I said, they lost 2-0 to Harlandale, and then they had a tie with Legacy. Can Harlandale, use that momentum beating Medina Valley? Can they get into, figure out how to beat Southwest? So that's gonna be, if you have a chance, make sure to check out that game. Southwest Legacy, good start for them. I know that they're kind of within that striking distance. They're being a little sneaky here. I know last year they gave a game last year to Southwest, and then Medina Valley. I'm a little surprised there. Like I said, they started strong, and now they've got a couple of losses and that tie. And can they maybe honor the injuries? Kind of maybe injury bug hit them. So maybe they'll get it together. But you look at the schedules. Like I said, Medina Valley has to. They got a tough one. They cannot take Southside lightly. If they lose that game,
or Eagle Pass.
yeah, or
CC
Eagle Pass,
win.
yeah, CC win, yeah, they can't lose those 2 games. And because if they do, they could really drop down to that 6th spot. So and that would be hard for probably dig yourself out of that. So we'll see how they piece it together.
So maybe they can build some confidence. So moving on to 6A. Here comes your Clemens Buffaloes, 3-0, real tough non-district schedule. Steele 3-0, San Marcos, New Braunfels 1-2, Judson dropping back down, East Central dropping back down, 0-2-1. Still very I guess still early on this one here, but your thought, or let's look at the schedule here. Judson, Steele plays Judson in a rivalry, but then 1-2, Steele versus Clemens on the 20th at Clemens. San Marcos and New Braunfels is probably the big match on the 16th for that here. So, the Rattlers and the Unicorns for that here to see who can get a hold of that 3rd slot here. But your thoughts on Steele and Clemens, especially for next Tuesday, I believe it is, the 20th?
Yep. So you're gonna have the battle of or the FM 3007, and it's gonna be a great one. Like I said, yeah, don't let that record fool you with Clemens. I know they're 6-8, but they played some high caliber teams, and the whole purpose for them is to get them ready for this. And so that's gonna be a great game, and we'll see who wins the first round of that game. I'm a little surprised with San Marcos. Good, kind of good start for them. I kind of expected maybe Judson to be that kind of that 4th, that 4th team. I'm a little surprised with New Braunfels. Maybe the Braunfels, I thought that'd be that 3rd team. Uh, so it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, no Braunfels. I'm sure they can't take San Marcos lightly. Because in that game, it'd be a big win for San Marcos. They can win. They could kind of continue on and try to lock up some of that get that foot in the door into those playoff spots.
So moving on to 27, the ladies, Judson 3-0, New Braunfels Unicorns 3-0, Steel 2-1, Clemens 0-2-1, San Marcos 0-2-1, and East Central 0-3. I guess the story has to be Clemens, right?
Hmm.
Real good non-district, but off to a poor start in district for that here with Judson and New Braunfels, both being undefeated and still at 2-1. So looking at it here, obviously Clemens, East Central still. This is Judson and New Braunfels. Judson, Steele, and New Braunfels. So that's the big match right there. Is 1 and 2
Hmm.
when it comes to it. And really, Judson has 1, 2, and 3 this week.
Yeah, yeah. The surprising is that with Clemens, they had a good start of the season and start of the district play. They get a 0-0 tie with San Marcos, which is kind of kind of baffling there. But yeah, that 2-1 loss to Judson, what a big win. Big win for the Lady Rockets there. That's a good signature win for them. And then the Clemens gets blown out by New Braunfels 6-0. Um, this is a big game coming up for Clemens. I think it's a winnable game against East Central, but I think they're gonna have to win against Steel. Or at least get some points away from Steel because I think a loss, you really dig yourself in a hole with 3 losses. And but they
But
definitely need to get.
does it really though? And well, I guess I should say digging a hole to be able to get one, maybe a top 2 seed, yes,
Yes.
but I still think they would be the favorite to make it into the 4th seed, although then you're playing the number 1 seed from
Hmm.
28, right?
Yeah, 28, which would be the Johnson Lady Jaguars, and and like I said, you want to. That's so for me, like I said, I've seen them play, and they're a great team, and I don't know if, like I mentioned, sometimes the injury bug gets you at the wrong time, maybe get them right before district play, and this is the end result. But like I said, they have a winnable game. Maybe if they can build upon that and they can get that win against Steel, and then they're back into that, maybe they can still contend for the, maybe for like a second spot, but
Mhm.
I got to give kudos to Judson. 3-0 start. That's a great start for them. They've struggled the last few years, and can they keep it up? Can they maintain, um, you know, this and for them to win a district crown, it'll be a great, a dream season for them. But like I said, they still have to contend against New Braunfels. New Braunfels starting to kind of peak at the right time too. They made a statement win against Clemens with that 6-0 win. So
So,
it,
and I know it's early, but if the playoffs started today, could you see any of these 4 teams beating any of the top 4 from 28?
that'd be tough right there. Um,
And that's my
that's not a
point with
distance. Yeah,
Clemens
yeah.
is you're going against, we can go ahead and move to 28. You're going against Johnson, but even if you finished, 3rd, you're getting Reagan, second, you're getting Madison, and then, if you're finishing 1st, you're getting Lee. Um, Quality programs if you're facing 28,
Hmm.
District 28 for the playoffs here, but 28 ladies, Johnson perfect 8-0, Reagan 7-1, Madison 5-2-1 with Lee 5-2-1, Clark 4-4, Brandeis 2-5-1, a little bit of a surprise. Churchill 1-6-1, Marshall 0-5-3, and those 3 draws are kind of sneaky there, and then 0-7-1 for Roosevelt. Johnson gets Churchill, Reagan gets Clark, Lee gets Churchill, Roosevelt, Marshall, Lee. So none of the heavyweights are really facing each other this week here when it comes to that. I guess Clark is the one that has the show up week playing Madison and Johnson.
Hmm.
Along those lines here, but your thoughts?
What can you say about Johnson? Like I said, I did get to see that call the game between Johnson and Reagan right before that rainstorm hit. I was very impressed by Johnson. This could be their year. You know, they have a lot of senior leadership on that squad. Um, you know, and I think, like I said, they should win this district. Like I said, just what what they've been doing and who the teams they've been beating. Um, Now, can they equal that once they get into the playoffs? Like I said, they're gonna have to worry about teams like Travis, or Dripping Springs, or Austin Anderson or Austin Bowie. And then you have the Round Rock teams in the second round. So they have to, like I said, they have to run a gauntlet in order to get to that regional tournament. But if the one team that probably can do it, would probably be them. I think they have the talent enough. They have the experience. So it's interesting. Like I said, I was very impressed what they did that game against Reagan. What they did were able to do, and they really kind of made a statement on that one. And then Reagan, like I said, can they bounce back from that? From that loss. When they play again. What adjustments they're gonna make, and then like I said, kudos. Like I said, also to Madison and League, they're playing great. Like I said, I think they can go. They can make some noise also in the playoffs too. Can't take them lightly because, like I said, they've played some tough teams, and this district is going to prepare them for a lot of things coming up.
Yeah. So moving to 28 boys, Johnson 6-0-2, Reagan 5-0-3, Brandeis 5-1-2, Madison 4-3-1, Churchill 3-2-2, Lee and 6 at 4-4, which is kind of a surprise, and then Clark and then Marshall and Roosevelt for that here. Johnson, Churchill, Clark through here. Churchill, Madison, Johnson. Guess the Brandeis Lee would be a kind of a big match for this week, right? 5-1, 4-4.
Yeah, because like I said, Brandeis got the win the first on the first round of the district play, but now Brandeis has to go to, I think, Comalander and face off. Lee's in a little corner right there. They have to. I know they lost some quality players. I'm not saying it's a rebuilding year. They have some talent. It's just inexperience. Probably it's kind of caught up to them. But you know what you learn from the first round. Can you fix those errors coming into the second round? And those games that you lost, can you go back and win those? And if they can come back and win those, they'll be back in contention. Not I'm gonna say maybe the district title, but maybe, like I said, getting that that 3 seed, or maybe 2 seed. You never know what could happen, but they're gonna have to start. You know, they have to make the move now, and but you got teams like surprises like Churchill. Churchill's been a surprise. They got a superstar freshman forward that's been tearing it up, from what Coach Sanchez was telling me. He's probably going to be the future of that team. And kudos to Madison. They kind of started slow, but now they're starting to get things together. Same thing with Brandeis. Brandeis, I know they were missing some key players, but I think they're back, and I think they're ready to kind of make their move and see if they can get, once they face Johnson, try to get in contention to that district title. And Reagan was kind of in the same situation. They kind of struggled a little bit in prior to district play, but like I said, they're still undefeated. I know they lost some key players. Can they stay within striking distance of Johnson to contend for that district title? But it's going to be a fun one. Like I said, you have 6 teams. You know, they're gonna fight it out. For these 4 spots, and it's gonna be a shame. 2 teams that probably could make the playoffs in other districts. Not make it this year.
Moving on to 29 boys. Harlan 6-0-1. AJ says they're going to run away with it. Brennan 6-1-1. John Jay 6-2, Warren 6-2, O'Connor 4-4, Taft 2-4-1, Sotomayor, AJ Stevens Falcons 1-6-1. They need him to start scoring, and then Holmes Huskies 0-8 for that here this week here. Harlan, Brennan, and Harlan should be a good one, and O'Connor through there. Brennan playing Taft on the other day, and then John Jay, O'Connor, and Warren. Warren, Holmes, John Jay, probably the easiest out of the top four as far as playing the two matches. O'Connor, John Jay, and Harlan. So lots of interesting action here at the top where 1 and 2 goes head to head. If Harlan can get the win, that puts them in the driver's seat.
Well, remember the last time they played, they tied 0-0. So I mean, they had a tie. So maybe Brandon figures them out this time and gets the win. If they get a win, now you have an interesting race. That district title. Repeating might come to an end. But don't count out John Jay. John Jay could get hot in the second half. Same thing with Warren too. I know I saw the Warren game versus Harlan. They were in it for a while until they kind of that was the game when it rained and the keeper kind of lost the ball and Harlan was able to kind of pounce on that, and then that kind of changed the momentum of the game, and Harlan really kind of turned it up in the second half. So I think looking at your four teams there, your top four teams there, more likely are going to be I think more likely kind of your shoo-ins into the playoffs. But O'Connor, they make a move? I know they've been struggling, and I kind of expect a little bit more from them. I know from speaking to some people, I know they lost some good players from last year's team, but they're still within striking distance, and you never know, something can happen. You can't take teams like Taft and Sotomayor lightly, or even Stevens too. Stevens could sneak up and get a tie here or there. You never know.
Steven plays tough.
Yeah.
Obviously my son plays for the JV team, so I follow Stevens quite a bit. They're typically in the game, but they have problems scoring, number one. And then, against, they tend to lose by a goal, maybe 2 goals, and it's usually defensive lapses that hurt them both on the varsity and JV. But to me, O'Connor, kind of like we were talking about Kerrville Tivy for the ladies, this is a week if O'Connor is going to make a playoff push where they get Taft, which you'd think, hey, you should be able to win, get the W, and then Harlan, which is a tough one. But if you could get both wins on there, that puts you at 6-4, and that puts you back into it. But if you come away with let's say a split or a loss and a draw, it's going to make that path to go forward. But I will say this: we learned this last year. I think it was Taft that got hot right at the end, and rode where they were down in the standings, and then rode their way into the playoffs. So with this district where you're playing the teams for the second time, as you've said here, Coach Rafa, the adjustments, people coming back from injuries, other teams having nicks and knocks on there, teams, playing on an off day, for them, because that does happen at this age. To me, like I said here, for O'Connor, it's a huge, huge week for them if they're going to stay into it. And a team that we never seem to talk about, but is always there, is Warren. It's one of those things where they're not flashy like Harlan or Brennan, but like we've been doing this 5 years, 6 years, and they've always been that team that's 2, 3, 4. They typically never get the division title, it seems like, but they're always right there.
Yeah, and watching them play, they're not a bad team. They got a really good forward up front, and that game against Harlan, he just really couldn't, get it going, or really kind of get the ball to really kind of create his shots and so forth. But the one thing, like I said, when you're starting round two of your district play, you start making those adjustments to see how you can. Like, I'm sure they're making a game plan to say, okay, what can we do to kind of free him up and get that way he can get his shots on goal and so forth. And that's what every team here. So, like I mentioned,
the ball to really kind of,
this is gonna be it's gonna be interesting here.
free him up and get
How this finishes and who ends up getting hot, in the second round. And you got four teams here that they can do it. I know like I said,
in the
Harlan's
second round.
Harlan's
Got four
gonna
teams
be
here.
Harlan's the team that everyone's gunning for, and they got to get it. Like I said, they have to play at their best in order to repeat again as district champs. But it starts this week. It starts tomorrow because, like I said, they got that tough one coming up, and we'll see how the result for that.
And look who in the last district we're going to cover tonight, 29. Look who's made their way back to the top here. The Taft Lady Red Raiders, 6-0-2. O'Connor 5-1-2. Warren 5-3. Brennan 4-0-4, so hasn't lost in district, but 4 draws. John Jay, despite the win against O'Connor, 3-2-3, so right now on the outside. Sotomayor, Harlan, Stevens, and Holmes finishes out. So looking at this week, Taft gets Brennan on next Tuesday. O'Connor, John Jay, rematch of John Jay's initial win against them, and then they get Harlan for that here. Brennan, Harlan, and Taft. Warren, Holmes, and John Jay. And then so John Jay really has an interesting week with O'Connor and Warren for it here. So your thoughts on John Jay's big week? Because it's, I guess, just like with on the O'Connor on the boys side, for John Jay, it's a show up week for the Lady Mustangs.
Yeah, if they're gonna make a move, they got to do it this week. They're gonna have to win these games. I think a loss really kind of sets them back. Ties won't. Like I said, if you look at the looking at the schedules, ties won't. Really not going to help now, especially now that they're starting round two. Like I said, round two starts with, the next week's round is round two. So they have to finish strong here. They have to get that win against O'Connor because that'll get them up, and also that it give O'Connor that second loss. Going to and be just like a game behind them. Um, so it's gonna be a drag down burn. And if you remember from the last couple of years, Taff, O'Connor, and Brennan all play each other the first two 3 games of the first 2 games of the district, or first 3 games for each of them for district play. So that second round game with Taft and Brennan, that's a big one next week, and they tied the last time. Like I said, Brennan's done a good job. Like I said, they haven't had much of the attention, but they're still undefeated. I know they have 4 ties, but hey, rather have 4 ties than 4 losses. So, and who's to say, they make the right adjustments and they knock off Taft, and in that second, the first game of the second round. So, like I said, it's still in.
I guess point wise, they're actually third because
Mhm.
they got 4 points, and Warren's would be at 15, and they would be at 16 points. So, but I just keeping it through here. So, as far as the wins, which is typically how looking at the other standings, but
Yeah, because
it's
Jay's got a 12, so they're about, like I said, about a game behind Warren.
yeah.
Warren, like I said, Warren's a good team. They got some good players. They made a run. Like I said, they made a run last year too. Like, remember towards the end, they made a run, knock out Sotomayor, and they got a big tie. I think it was against Taft that kind of propelled them to get into the playoffs. So, it's kind of come down. I think as far as the playoff wise, I think it's these 5 teams. But the big task is for John Jay. They have to make their move here? They got to beat O'Connor, and then they got to knock off Warren because they got to have to make some ground.
So here's my observation of this district, and I know this is gonna seem kind of odd to say about Taft, where they're 10-0-3 and 6-0-2 in district. I don't think they're playing their best ball yet. For that here, just they had the 2 draws at the start. They're
Mhm.
starting to pick it up. Where like you've seen some other teams that have came in district at the start and with the good and then kind of faded. I actually think Taft, you're going to see kind of the opposite, where maybe they got a little bit slower started, and I hate saying slow start with 2 draws, but the expectation for for the Taft team is, in my opinion, is pretty high. And I think they're starting to pick up and playing their best ball, best ball of the season so far. We'll see if they can keep it up and keep
Mhm.
continuing to put wins on there.
Yeah.
But there, to me, that's kind of the observation, for me, and when it comes to Taft is, we're like, well, why are, there's the high expectations, but they're what, third or fourth for for a period of time
For a
and
little bit.
in the standings, and they didn't get as much
And
love from you in the Power
yeah,
15.
because I expected more. I mean, if you look, I mean, at the
But
beginning of the
that's what I'm
season,
talking about. Is
they beat some
they're starting
quality
to peak
teams.
now.
They had that big win against the Woodlands, and I thought, okay, this team's gonna do some damage. And when they had a 0-0 tie with Brennan, and the 2-2 tie with O'Connor, and that was a little head scratcher there, like, whoa, what's going on here? And but ever since, they've been blowing out teams, and so
But that's what I
I'm
mean.
sure.
Is they're playing
Yeah,
their best
they're
ball
now
now
they're yeah.
as turning on for the second half as they're
So
entering into the playoffs, though.
yeah, so now here they got, like I said, the next 2 weeks they got Brendan on the 20th, and they got O'Connor on the 24th. You know, if they win those 2 games, that pretty much will solidify their district title there. I think that now will really kind of distance themselves there. But any slip up could mean O'Connor can get back in, or even Brendan can come back in. And we've seen it the last 2 years how wacky those 3 teams when they play each other. So, but it's always fun to see them play. So but I think going into the playoffs, like I said, for them, for this should have no problem beating the teams from 36A. That I don't see any of those teams from the Laredo or Del Rio beating the Northside schools.
So next week, we're gonna do a show next Thursday. Power 15 coming back for next week in a
Sure.
couple weeks.
Yep. And I'll be live from Thursday. I'll be live from Round Rock, folks. Driving in from Waco to Round Rock.
So we're
So.
gonna be Thursday. The fan cast. Um, to be determined, because there's the Crocketeers meeting.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hoping to try to get it early. I know we're thinking about seeing if we can try to do it live, but I don't. We'll see how that goes. For that, but we're season starting to get come together for the fan cast. It's kind of odd. I think SAFC is one of the last teams outside of maybe the Lights that hasn't played a friendly as of yet for that here, but they did sign a second goalkeeper, so I guess that's a positive. We're at 16. Um, there is you can talk about this in, I think it's what, April.
Mhm.
Mexico, the Femino, the Mexican Femino team playing
The Matildas of Australia.
Australia at Toyota Field. Kind of your thoughts on that? I know you're more, well, you are Team Mexico. Matt's kind of flips both sides here, but you are the one that did not go to the USA match. But your thoughts on seeing the uh, you know Mexican national team women's team? I'm not sure what the proper way
Yeah.
is to call them.
Yeah, the Mexican.
So your thoughts on them coming to Toyota Field in April?
It
I think
should
it's
be a
in
fun
April,
one.
right?
Yeah, it's April 9th, I believe. It's a Tuesday night. It should be a fun game. I mean, they're playing a really high caliber quality team from Australia. I know with the Mexican national women's team, I think they're trying to make strides. They want, like I said, they want a CONCACAF title one of the younger teams, and they're starting to kind of build momentum, and then also with Liga MX Femenil, kind of really hitting it off down there. They're starting to produce players. You got some great teams like Michael America, Monterrey, Chivas. They're starting to develop really good soccer players down there from that league, and that league's really helping out. And who's to say, in a few years, the ladies from Mexico, that they may end up closing that gap with the women's national team from the U.S. As far as getting to play, it's getting there. It's
Well,
getting there, and I guess
the gap is closing, yes, because
yeah,
just the world's game is moving in.
yeah.
What kind of roster? And like I said here, I'm not a women's soccer expert
Mhm.
by any means here. Are you expecting kind of a BC team, kind of like what the USA men's national
Mhm.
team have, or and I'm assuming this would go for Australia as well, or are you thinking more, kind of A/B time there, for it here?
This could be maybe a B team. Like, so I think they want to see some youth players. Um, I don't, may not see maybe the 18 players because of their league play. So it'll be some that are gonna get, or maybe even like I said, you'll probably see some U18s, some U21s, maybe some older players that have never been on the team or making their debut.
Get caps,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, kind of what like with the U.S. when they played Slovenia. It's pretty kind of it's kind of the same feel for that. So, but it's good for them because it's good to have the Mexican. I think this is the first time the Mexican national team for the women's actually plays here in San Antonio. So that's pretty exciting there, and hopefully maybe it's the beginning of them playing more games here too. Getting an opportunity, and you know how the men's national team for Mexico always plays games here in the U.S. So maybe this is a start for them, and also, they could use this, since you know as part of maybe a recruiting effort too, to especially a lot of the Mexican American
Dual
ladies,
nationals, yeah.
yeah, player.
That's who I think will be
Mm,
getting caps is those dual national,
hmm
U.S. Or Mexican Americans that you can choose. And let's be honest, the U.S. women's team is stacked within the depth of it. So if you've got somebody that maybe is
yeah,
third, fourth string kind of in that list there, if they have the ability to go to Mexico, or they could be one or two, maybe three, you know we are starting to see. I was reading some articles that you are starting to see the Mexican national team on the women's side, starting to bring in more Mexican Americans on the dual national side at this time. So
yeah, and hopefully, like I said, we, I know with the men's side, so I think they're kind of looking into that, maybe doing kind of the same thing too. Looking around the areas and so forth, and hopefully, like I said, we can get an opportunity. I may have to make some phone calls to see maybe my old club president. See, he probably has some connections there. Maybe you can get reach out to them and sit down with them, talk to them, and see what directions they are. What their goals and. But like I said, it's a great opportunity, and also here's the thing. If you can kind of look at this, now that we have the USL Super Pro team for the women's coming
super
getting that
women,
D1, yeah, getting the D1 status, this is a great opportunity for San Antonio to show up and
show
show,
up.
hey, look, we support women's soccer, regardless if it's Australia versus Mexico. If we can get a big turnout there. You know, this could be an opportunity to show them, hey, we deserve to get a USL Super Pro team here, and maybe that opened the eyes of also the SAFC. Hey, maybe do need a women's team too. So,
That's what whether it's, I would like to see them partner with the Athenians. I know
mhm,
that's probably my dream of mine, in here, but the Athenians have done a great job building a foundation. I'd like to see them be able to kind of see that develop to D1, because I do think San Antonio would be a perfect market for it. Toyota Field, needs some upkeep. Don't get me wrong,
mhm,
but like I said, it's a proper stadium. We got 91-91 in there for the U.S. men's national team. I would expect to sell out. Hopefully, we can get 91-91 for the women's game as well. Should be entertaining. Tuesday night as opposed to a Saturday afternoon. I know that's a little bit different for that here, but Rafa, we're almost at 2 hours. Want to thank you. I know
Mhm.
you're traveling along the border this week with the different schools and stuff like that with your job here, and I
Yeah.
know you mentioned. I think it's Saturday you're going to come back home, or some,
No,
this weekend or
Monday,
next Monday.
Monday. I go to Utopia, then go pick up some clothes and take off to Marble Falls, and then Marble Falls go to Waco, and then Waco to back to Round Rock, and then I should be home for the 24th for the scrimmage or the preseason game for
I think you
SAFC.
pay. I think you just pay rent to store your clothes personally. But
Yeah, yeah. So maybe, like I said, here in Dorio, here in my hometown. Like I said, also checking my mom, so she's doing a lot better. So I'm happy about that, and hopefully she'll be out soon and be back home with us. I know she misses us, and she misses us,
yeah,
and I'm sure will being with us. But because she's doing a lot better and stuff, and so we're glad happy for that. And then, like I said, I'm just looking forward to to the coming season, and also the shout out to about the got to watch the new uh the 114 show. That was a great episode.
oh,
Edson,
thank you.
if Edson's watching us, hey, he dished a lot of dirt. So he
so
dished a lot of dirt.
So thank you. Yeah. So, with Royce's input here, we've got the SAFC fan cast, which is San Antonio FC specific. We've got the roundtable, which I think is
Hmm.
going to be more high school through that here. And then we've kind of created 114 sports or section 114 sports, which is going to really can cover anything,
Yep.
whether it's, the Athenians, whether it's, we want to talk football. I'm trying to reach out to John, who used to do the Spurs and Salsa podcast, kind of talk a little bit about the Spurs for that here. So it's going to be just one where a little bit more, uh, not necessarily soccer specific, because we all are sports fans,
Hmm.
and just gives us a different outlet. I think it'll be good to jump on that to talk, Champions League, especially as we're getting into the knockout stages. Maybe that's something that we ought to do once your schedule kind of settles down, or if you're in a hotel room and you're like, hey, I got nothing to do, we can hop on and talk Champions League or Europa League, where Real Madrid's going to be going for that here. So,
Yeah, big win for them this week on they're at Leipzig, and yeah,
uh,
whatever the whole thing about the offside. Yeah, he was offside. So
yeah.
and then also at CONCACAF Champions League, they played yesterday too. So
Well,
I
they're
think
on tonight too.
they're out tonight too. Yeah. Yeah, Club America
So
played last night. They won 2-0, so they advanced. But they got Chivas in the second. They should take care of Chivas in the second round. So
don't
sorry to all you
lose.
Chivas fans.
uh oh, club sport for Daniel and Toluca. It ended 2-3. Club sport Hernando advances on
Ooh, that's a
aggregate
big upset.
4-4.
That's a big upset there.
So
To
there was
look
a red card.
Toluca's usually one of your better teams.
Yeah, so they got knocked out, and Monterey's up on Communications FC 1-0 already in the 26th minute, 5-1. But yeah, so yeah, I was sorry that kind of cut me off guard because I wasn't expecting Toluca to go down because they had a 2-1 lead going in, and they were at home, so you'd have thought that they would have
Yeah.
took care of business, and then ended up, the tie was 4-4, but 3 away goals from Club Sport moves them, puts them ahead.
So someone might be gaining fire tomorrow.
So hope everybody has a wonderful day. Good week. We'll see you next Thursday. We'll see you at some point on Sunday for that here. So to be determined on that. And then we'll see the Section 114 sports. We'll see when and how that goes for that here. But hope everyone has a wonderful day. And thank you for tuning in to SA Soccer Roundtable. What's life?